So I went to the doctor today and they were talking about vaccinating my kid, and I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if I should do it. So since you guys have kids and been through the process before, I was just wondering what you guys think about it, some advice.
Well, I've vaccinated all 4 of my kids, and I've never seen an issue with it, and I definitely think that vaccinating your child is the way to go.
See, but I haven't vaccinated any of my children, and there's also no issues with them.
Well, what made you want to not vaccinate them? Because I've heard a lot of things, and I think vaccinating is the best thing.
I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff on the internet out there that says vaccines cause autism, ADHD, there could be a severe reaction. I don't think it's worth it putting my child through that kind of harm. I just don't see what the point is.
Well, I would vaccinate my child because I would rather them experience a reduced version of the virus or an inactive version of the virus as opposed to coming down with a disease.
Why risk putting the virus in your child at all when they might not even get the disease? A lot of the diseases nowadays aren't even prevalent in the US.
So that's true. I haven't heard any deadly disease like outbreaks in the United States lately.
Well, the reason you haven't heard about them lately is because majority of the people in the United States are vaccinated. Also, in developing countries or countries where vaccines are not easily accessible, there's still outbreaks of vaccine preventable diseases, so it just goes to show that vaccines are the way to go.
You're right, there are still cases of vaccine preventable diseases in other countries, but in those countries there's not many cases of autism, sudden infant death syndrome, or ADHD because vaccines cause those in the States here.
So what makes you think that vaccines causes all these disorders?
Well, in the late 90s there was a study done by I think 12 or 13 authors, and it concluded that vaccines do in fact cause autism. In fact, it was the mercury in them that caused the autism. And Andrew Wakefield has gone around the nation and has talked about this. And then you see videos of Jenna McCarthy on the internet who also says that her son got autism from the vaccines. So clearly if people are getting it, there has to be some kind of link. They just can't make it out of nowhere.
Well, actually, that study was retracted a few years later.
But then how does Andrew Wakefield still go around sourcing that study and goes around and telling people what he found in that study?
Well, he might talk about it, but actually, out of the 13 authors, 10 of them retracted it, so there's no way that study is credible, and you can't just go around talking about a study that most of the authors retracted their data.
You do have a point there, but there are other studies about mercury in ingredients. For example, there's one article that said the thimerosal, which was one of the main vaccine ingredients, that has mercury in it, which is some people say is a cause of autism as well.
I'm not an expert on vaccine ingredients, but the only thing we do know about autism is that genetics plays a role in it, and mercury cannot be a cause of autism.
You know what would be good to settle this debate? The internet. Plenty of information on here. I don't know, I think I might disagree with you because I see there's plenty of information here that I found on this random website that says that mercury is a cause of autism. It also says that there's been plenty of studies that have linked vaccines to reactions. Like there's one study here that said somebody died from sudden infant death syndrome a few days after getting a disease, and there's another one that said their child got the flu from the flu vaccine. So I mean, the internet doesn't lie. Like it's obviously from a reliable source.
Well, you might be reading that, but as you said, it's a random website, so there's no credible sources on there, and anyone can post anything on the internet. That you can't go by the internet. It's not right.
So you brought up some really good points about getting my child vaccinated, but I'm getting really scared with everything she said, and it's freaking me out, so I don't think I want to do it.
Here comes the baby!
Boy. Oh, nice bear.
What'd you name him?
Oso.
Oso?
Yeah.
That's such a cute name.
How old is Oso?
3 months.
He's very cute. Can I hold him?
Yeah. Careful of that. Thanks, guys, for all the information. You guys were really helpful. But I think I'm still going to go talk to my doctor about it, see what she thinks about getting my child vaccinated.
So, Mrs. Valeka, what brings you into the office today?
So I'm having my first child, and I wonder if I should vaccinate it. So I haven't heard any outbreaks in the United States about vaccinating your child. So I was wondering why I would have to do it anyways.
So you're right, there haven't been that many outbreaks in the U.S., but there actually have been some. There was a measles outbreak in California, and it's because people aren't vaccinating their children, and as a result, the kids are getting sick. In like developing countries and stuff, where there's no vaccines, there are outbreaks there. So it is important that your child does get
So my
vaccinated.
friend told me about this study that links vaccines to autism, and I was just wondering, is there a connection? Does vaccines like cause autism?
I'm assuming your friend was referring to the Wakefield article that was published in The Lancet. And actually, 10 of the 13 authors retracted their statements from that. So the authors and people involved realized that there was some kind of problem with the study, which means the results are not accurate and shouldn't be taken into account. So there is no study that supports a link between autism and vaccines.
So then, what about, I heard about mercury being a ingredient in one of the vaccines, and so I was just wondering, does that cause autism or a link to it?
There was actually a rumor going around a few years ago that said that there was mercury in thimerosal, which is probably the ingredient your friend was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
And the mercury in that is supposed to cause autism, but we don't know anything about the causes of autism besides that genetics play a component. There have been many studies that have ruled mercury out. Other studies will tell you that the mercury is poisonous, but methyl mercury, which is what people refer to, it can be toxic to your nerve cells in your brain, but that's not what's in the ingredients. It's actually ethyl mercury, which is slightly different, which means it's going to have a slightly different effect on your body. So there is really no bad effect of the thimerosal, but just in case, researchers saw that it didn't help that much, so it's actually been removed for almost all vaccines, besides some flu vaccines in the U.S., and some other countries still use it, but in the U.S. it's basically non-existent in vaccines anymore.
So my next question would be, I guess, would it be better to have them go to a measles party or get the vaccination?
I mean, it's always better to get your child vaccinated because there's no point of your child going through measles, getting the scars, and feeling all the sickness when they can just get a little vaccine, maybe have a little sore arm, and then not get measles. The immune system actually reacts the same way to getting the actual sickness or to getting the vaccine. The body's still going to make antibodies to fight it off and everything, so there's really no difference, so you might as well not put your kid through all that pain when he or she doesn't have to go through it.
So my last question would be, should I wait until they're older, or do you think they can handle it when they're tiny?
Well, there's tons of scientists and researchers that spend plenty of time making a vaccine schedule. And the vaccine schedule is targeted to the highest effectiveness of the vaccine. In other words, if they say that your child should be vaccinated, example, at 2 months for pertussis, that's probably the best time. And your child handles antigens all the time. Antigens are things that can provoke something in the immune system, so your child handles that all the time. So the vaccine, it's such a little amount of the virus that it doesn't matter. Especially when they're little, there's certain viruses and diseases that aren't bad for adults. Like pertussis is one that for adults we barely notice we have it, but in kids it can actually kill them because it's so severe and their ribs can break and they can just run out of breath. So it's the vaccine schedule is there for a reason, and children can definitely handle it when they're young.
So you're pretty much saying that there's no risk in vaccinating my child. So.
No, I mean, there's a risk of a reaction, but that's mainly 1 in a million. But besides that, no risks.
All right. Sign me up, Doc.
All right.
How old is Oso now?
He's 1.
That's good. He's gotten so much bigger since the last time I saw him.
I know, he's walking now.